Anakin Skywalker, born a slave on Tatooine, was shaped by the harsh sands of his homeworld and the yearning for freedom. However, imagine a different path. What if Anakin had been raised on Mandalore? This alternate trajectory would create profound ripples throughout the galaxy, altering the course of the Clone Wars, the Jedi Order, and even the Sith's grand plans. In this alternate reality, Anakin's extraordinary Force sensitivity is discovered early by a wandering Mandalorian warrior during a mission on Tatooine. Recognizing his potential, the Mandalorian frees him and takes him back to Mandalore. Raised within a culture steeped in honor, discipline, and martial prowess, Anakin's formative years would be starkly different from his original upbringing. Instead of the unstructured chaos of slavery, he would find himself molded by Mandalorian traditions. Mandalore's warrior ethos would instill in Anakin a strong sense of duty and camaraderie. His explosive temper and deep emotions, so often a point of contention within the Jedi Order, might be channeled differently. On Mandalore, strength and passion are not seen as inherently dangerous but as tools to be honed. The focus on discipline and control, central to Mandalorian training, could help Anakin manage his emotions constructively, potentially averting some of the inner turmoil that later consumed him. The concept of family would also hold a significant influence. The Mandalorian concept of foundlings could provide Anakin with a sense of belonging and purpose that he had previously lacked. Unlike the Jedi Order, which demanded detachment and eschewed familial bonds, the Mandalorians celebrate and nurture them. Surrounded by comrades who respect him for his skills and value his loyalty, Anakin might develop a healthier sense of identity and connection. He would no longer be a lonely child yearning for love and acceptance but a respected warrior bound by the Mandalorian code. When the Jedi eventually learn of Anakin's existence and his exceptional Force abilities, they might approach Mandalore to recruit him. However, this encounter would likely unfold very differently from his original induction into the Jedi Order. Anakin, raised as a Mandalorian, might view the Jedi's strict code and emotional detachment with skepticism. His loyalty to his adopted culture and family could make him resistant to their overtures. The Jedi, in turn, would face a dilemma: accept a Padawan who adheres to Mandalorian values or risk losing the Chosen One. The prospect of Anakin balancing his Mandalorian upbringing with Jedi training is an intriguing one. He might challenge the Jedi Order's orthodoxy, questioning its insistence on detachment and its sometimes passive approach to conflict. His Mandalorian perspective, emphasizing decisive action and loyalty to one's people, could inspire reform within the Order or cause friction with its more traditional members. Anakin's relationship with key figures in the galaxy would also shift dramatically. Obi-Wan Kenobi, initially assigned as his mentor, would need to navigate a vastly different dynamic. Instead of a fearful, inexperienced boy, Obi-Wan would be dealing with a confident and skilled warrior shaped by Mandalorian ideals. Their bond, while still significant, might develop on more equal terms, with Anakin challenging Obi-Wan's adherence to Jedi doctrine and Obi-Wan striving to temper Anakin's Mandalorian fire with Jedi wisdom. Padme Amidala, too, would see a different side of Anakin. His Mandalorian upbringing might make him more confident and self-assured but also more grounded. The intensity of their eventual relationship could take on a more balanced and stable nature, as Anakin might have better emotional tools to navigate love and attachment. However, his Mandalorian values might also deepen his protective instincts, potentially amplifying his fear of losing her. On the galactic stage, Anakin's Mandalorian identity would complicate the Sith's plans. Darth Sidious, who manipulated Anakin's insecurities and inner conflict, might find a much harder target in this alternate Anakin. A disciplined, confident warrior with a strong support system would be less susceptible to the Sith's temptations. Sidious would need to devise new strategies, possibly focusing on other potential apprentices or manipulating the Mandalorians themselves to achieve his goals. Anakin's presence on Mandalore would also affect the planet's trajectory. During the Clone Wars, Mandalore faced internal strife as factions like Death Watch sought to revive its warrior past. Anakin, with his unique blend of Mandalorian training and Force sensitivity, could play a pivotal role in these conflicts. His influence might either stabilize Mandalore or push it further into turmoil, depending on how his values align with the factions vying for control. Mandalore's alliances and its role in the broader galactic conflict could shift significantly as a result. If Anakin eventually becomes a Jedi, his dual identity as a Mandalorian warrior and a Jedi Knight could redefine the Jedi Order's relationship with Mandalore. Instead of viewing the Mandalorians as rivals or potential threats, the Jedi might seek a more collaborative relationship, guided by Anakin's unique perspective. This alliance could strengthen the Republic's position during the Clone Wars, providing the Jedi with invaluable allies in their struggle against the Separatists. However, this path is not without its challenges. The Mandalorian Code emphasizes loyalty to one's clan and people, which might conflict with the Jedi's broader focus on the galaxy's welfare. Anakin could find himself torn between his Mandalorian family and his Jedi duties, a conflict that Sidious could exploit. If Anakin were to fall to the dark side, his Mandalorian upbringing would make him an even more formidable opponent. A Sith Anakin leading Mandalorian warriors against the Jedi and the Republic would be a terrifying force, potentially accelerating the downfall of both the Jedi Order and the Republic. Alternatively, if Anakin resists the dark side, his unique experiences could help him fulfill his destiny as the chosen one in a way that reconciles the Jedi and Mandalorian philosophies. By embracing the strengths of both traditions, Mandalorian passion and loyalty alongside Jedi wisdom and balance, Anakin could forge a new path forward for the galaxy. His leadership might inspire a more inclusive and adaptable Jedi Order, one capable of addressing the galaxy's challenges with greater unity and understanding. This alternate scenario, Anakin Skywalker raised on Mandalore, offers a fascinating exploration of identity, loyalty, and the impact of culture on destiny. The galaxy far, far away would be profoundly reshaped by such a divergence, creating a legacy for Anakin that could either save or destroy the Republic, the Jedi, and the Mandalorians themselves. As Anakin matures within the warrior culture of Mandalore, his innate Force abilities would set him apart even among the most skilled Mandalorians. His guardians would recognize his potential not only as a warrior but as a symbol of Mandalore's might. The combination of Mandalorian training and his burgeoning connection to the Force would create an individual capable of extraordinary feats, earning him respect and possibly fear among his peers. Anakin's skills would likely be put to the test in Mandalore's internal conflicts. The divided nature of Mandalorian society, with pacifist factions led by Duchess Satine opposing militant groups like Death Watch, would provide a crucible for Anakin's growth. His loyalty to his adoptive family and the Mandalorian Code might lead him to align with the warriors, though his natural inclination to protect others could make him sympathetic to the pacifist's goals. This internal tension would force Anakin to grapple with questions of morality and leadership early in his life. Instead of blindly following the Mandalorian Code, he might begin to develop his own philosophy, blending the warrior's pragmatism with a deeper compassion influenced by his memories of enslavement and hardship on Tatooine. This moral complexity could make him a unifying figure, capable of bridging the gap between Mandalore's warring factions. When the Clone Wars erupt, Anakin's position on Mandalore would make him a critical figure in the galaxy's unfolding drama. The Mandalorian's historical enmity with the Jedi and the Republic might initially place him in opposition to the Jedi Order. However, his Force sensitivity would make him a target for both the Jedi and the Sith. The Jedi would see him as a powerful ally or a dangerous adversary, while Darth Sidious would view him as a pawn to be turned to the dark side. In this alternate timeline, the relationship between Anakin and the Jedi Order would be fraught with tension. The Jedi's intervention in Mandalorian affairs, potentially to recruit or neutralize Anakin, could deepen Mandalore's distrust of the Republic. Anakin, fiercely loyal to his adopted family, might resist the Jedi's attempts to sway him. However, the discovery of his Force sensitivity would force him to confront his identity and his role in the galaxy. The Jedi, recognizing Anakin's significance, might eventually succeed in bringing him into the Order. However, his Mandalorian upbringing would make his integration a contentious process. Unlike other Jedi, who were trained from a young age to suppress their emotions and conform to the Order's strict code, Anakin would bring with him the passion and independence of a Mandalorian warrior. This clash of cultures could spark debates within the Jedi Council about the nature of the Force and the balance between discipline and individuality. Anakin's presence within the Jedi Order would also alter the dynamics of the Clone Wars. His Mandalorian background would give him a unique perspective on strategy and combat, potentially leading to innovative tactics that could shift the tide of the war. His ability to inspire loyalty and command respect would make him a natural leader, though his Mandalorian values might sometimes put him at odds with the Jedi's more cautious approach. The bond between Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi would likely be more complex in this timeline. As Anakin's mentor, Obi-Wan would face the challenge of reconciling his own strict adherence to the Jedi Code with Anakin's Mandalorian ethos. Their relationship might be less one of master and apprentice and more of equals, with mutual respect tempered by occasional clashes over ideology. This dynamic could strengthen their partnership, making them a formidable duo on the battlefield, or it could exacerbate tensions that would later be exploited by Darth Sidious. Padme Amidala's connection to Anakin would also take on a different flavor. His Mandalorian upbringing might give him a more grounded perspective on love and relationships, enabling him to navigate his feelings for Padme with greater maturity. However, the protective instincts instilled by Mandalorian culture could also heighten his fear of losing her, creating a vulnerability that Sidious could manipulate. Sidious's efforts to corrupt Anakin would face new challenges in this timeline. A Mandalorian Anakin, shaped by discipline and a strong sense of community, might be less susceptible to the loneliness and self-doubt that Sidious exploited in the original timeline. However, the Sith Lord's cunning could still find cracks in Anakin's armor. Sidious might exploit Anakin's loyalty to Mandalore, presenting the Republic as an enemy of his people and framing the Jedi as hypocritical meddlers. The prospect of uniting Mandalore and the galaxy under his leadership could tempt Anakin, particularly if he feels betrayed by the Jedi. If Anakin were to fall to the dark side, his Mandalorian training would make him an even more formidable Sith. Armed with both the power of the Force and the combat skills of a Mandalorian warrior, he could lead a revolution that would threaten not only the Jedi but the entire Republic. The prospect of Darth Vader commanding an army of Mandalorian warriors is a chilling one, with the potential to devastate the galaxy on an unprecedented scale. On the other hand, if Anakin resists the lure of the dark side, his dual identity as a Mandalorian and a Jedi could become a source of strength. By embracing the best aspects of both traditions, he might forge a new path for the galaxy, one that transcends the rigid dichotomies of Jedi and Sith, Republic and Separatists. His leadership could inspire a new era of cooperation between the Jedi and Mandalorians, creating a more united front against the Sith and their machinations. In this scenario, Anakin's destiny as the Chosen One could take on a different meaning. Instead of simply destroying the Sith, he might bring balance to the Force by reconciling the competing philosophies of the Jedi and Mandalorians. This vision of balance would not be about the eradication of darkness, but the harmonization of light and shadow, passion and discipline, individuality and community. The galaxy, shaped by the choices of this Mandalorian Anakin, would be a very different place. The Clone Wars might unfold differently, with Mandalore playing a more prominent role in the conflict. The Jedi Order, influenced by Anakin's perspective, might undergo a transformation that makes it more adaptable and inclusive. The Sith, facing a united front of Jedi and Mandalorians, might be forced to adapt their strategies or face extinction. Anakin Skywalker, raised on Mandalore, represents a fascinating what-if scenario that highlights the importance of environment and upbringing in shaping one's destiny. His journey, marked by the fusion of Mandalorian strength and Jedi wisdom, could redefine the fate of the galaxy, proving that even the Chosen One's path is not fixed but shaped by the people and cultures that surround him.